Wow, thank you everybody. Thanks for coming out.
It's a big turnout today.
Wow.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Los Angeles. So for those of you who don't know, I am Sam.
And I am Soorej.
And welcome to CassiePod, the show where we talk about pop culture, music, movies, and yep, pop culture. Today we're going to be talking about
Our personal favorites and what we think are the best directors and 2 movies from each of these directors.
Yep. So the first director we're going to talk about is David Fincher.
Oh, okay. Let me just start off by saying that David Fincher is my favorite
Amazing.
director. He has made one bad movie, and that movie was Alien 3, and it was his
first movie, so you can't even...
And right after Alien 3, he comes at us with the first movie we were talking about, S7N, or 7, depending on how you want to say it.
Yeah.
It looks a little ridiculous, but...
It's spelled strangely.
It is a fantastic movie. This movie stars Gwyneth Paltrow,
Brad Pitt.
A shock in Kevin Spacey because his name is not in the opening credits or on the poster or anywhere.
Purposefully, though. Fincher did that purposefully.
He did it purposely. We'll get into that. And the last person it stars is Morgan Freeman. Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman play detectives in this movie. It is a true-to-form crime drama.
Yep.
They follow the killer. They find the killer. And a fantastic thing Fincher did, as you mentioned, is he didn't say that Kevin Spacey was in this movie. Nobody knew.
Right.
Nobody knew when they watched this movie, and then spoiler alert, when you get to find out who the killer is, it's Kevin Spacey. And
it's Kevin Spacey.
Everyone. It's great acting
and that's
in this movie.
That's how it really shows in a director that like they're dedicated to their craft. Is that he's directing before the actual movie. He's directing the posters.
So something very interesting that we have to talk about this movie is that the studio originally wanted to change the ending.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman said, "We will not finish filming if you don't film the original ending."
Yeah.
And the ending turned out beautifully. It is one of the most famous endings of all time. "What's in the box" is a famous quote.
Yeah.
And it's just shot masterfully. Throughout the movie, Fincher uses the camera to display how
their relationship,
characters' relationships. If you look when Freeman and Pitt first meet and they're first assigned on the case together, they're actually in opposite sides of the room. I believe Pitt is sitting and Freeman is standing, and as they get a little more information on the case and they see some pictures from the case, they get closer together. They're both next to each other, facing the same way.
You can literally watch their positioning, their framing, everything about them and their body language grow. And it's not a coincidence.
And another important aspect is throughout this movie, Gwyneth Paltrow as Brad Pitt's wife, she's shot as they just show her face, close-ups on her face.
They do.
And if you pay attention to that, if you're very keen, it pays off very much in the end. Because not only in the end do we get a payoff with Somerset, Freeman's character, and Pitt. We also get a payoff with the way the wife was shot throughout the whole time. I remember watching this movie thinking, that's strange, it's a close-up every time. And I wasn't really a big Fincher fan yet, so I hadn't realized it was important. And we get to the ending.
And we find out
there's a very famous scene where a box is delivered, and I do instantly.
Yeah, it's her head. They don't even say it. It's her head that's in the box.
You don't even need to say it because you just know. And then a fantastic thing to do at the ending is when they film Pitt, they're using a shaky cam, and I usually don't like this, but this one was done with purpose and style, and it wasn't for that long. It's to show he's out of
Kevin Spacey, who has all the power in the scene.
It's steady.
It's rock steady.
Yeah, it's super steady. This is to show that Pitt is losing control, and it tells you what's going to happen, because he does indeed shoot Kevin Spacey, and it completes the 7 sins, which the movie is about.
Yeah, it's perfect. And back to what you were saying about how they were showing close-ups of her face throughout the whole film. Another director that does that type of thing is Quentin Tarantino. In Death Proof, throughout the beginning of the movie, he's totally romanticizing this one girl's legs over and over again.
Well, he does have a fetish for feet.
He does have a fetish for feet.
For those audience members that don't know, Death Proof is half of Grindhouse. So if you're wanting to watch this film, look that up. It is 2 movies, and they're combined by a couple of the trailers. it's a nod to old Grindhouse movies where they'll play a couple B-grade movies together with some trailers. So it's
I didn't
really
even know.
it's really a fun experience. So I highly recommend watching.
It's a really cool movie, but yeah, he romanticizes her legs, and later on, her leg is chopped off.
Yeah, I think that was brilliant. The thing with Tarantino is he has this fantastic ability to make the ridiculous, and it's not weird when you watch the movie. You're not watching the movie. And you're like, oh, this is ridiculous.
Perfect.
I don't like it. It's perfect.
It's the way he sets up the world.
Ridiculous amounts of blood, but I think it's very important to say that this is not what his movies are about. His movies are not about just violence.
Definitely not.
His scripts, if you've ever read them, are fantastic. They're fully detailed. And the characters, although they seem to be talking about nothing, it always ends up paying
It's always
off.
something.
There's never nothing.
Yeah.
So pay attention to every single line of dialogue in his movies. You'll
He's by far one of the greatest writers of dialogue that there is.
Almost, I mean, not even almost. Like all his movies have been insanely successful, and this is just because he has his own style, but he's careful not to make it a formula.
Exactly. He does what he thinks is awesome.
He makes his movies. Yeah. His movies do look very similar. They're shot in similar ways, similar effects.
But that's just
similar way of talking. That's his style. But what he keeps fresh is the story. The story is completely different every time. He's so dedicated to the story that when The Hateful Eight, the script leaked like 1 or 2 years before, and he was like, "Well, I'm not making the movie then." Then they convinced him, and he completely changed the script when it came out. It was a whole new movie. He's so dedicated to the story.
And he does stories, or he does ideas in creative ways. You would never expect a movie about the Holocaust and Nazis,
it's funny,
Inglourious Bastards, to be a hilarious
and it's intense at the same time.
Amazing, violent movie in the way that he did it.
There's a 17-minute opening scene to that movie. If you look at it from far away, nothing's happening. The Nazis come to a house and they sit at a table and drink milk. But when you watch this scene,
it's the most
intense thing ever. And he goes to what he really, I think he's a fan of Alfred Hitchcock, because something that Hitchcock said was, if you tell me there's a bomb and show it to me, then I'm not afraid. But if you say there's a bomb under this table right now and I don't know when it's blowing up, then I'm afraid.
Exactly.
So it's very fun.
Either shock or suspense, and Tarantino always uses suspense, and then at the end has a gigantic payoff to it.
Yes, he is
crazy with it.
He is very famous for all of his characters dying at the end of his movies, and although he does kill a lot of people in a lot of his movies, I think that you're try not to focus too much on all the death and stuff, and try to focus more on what he's saying with the movie.
Yeah.
He also does things in very unique ways. Everyone's seen martial arts movies, yet Kill Bill is so unique. Speaking about Kill Bill,
I'm trying to find the death count for it.
It's ridiculous. Oh, fun fact about Kill Bill: the fight scene at the end was in black and white because he actually couldn't get a rated R rating unless it was in black and white.
Unless it was in black and white.
There's actually an unrated version. You could find it, and it's in color. It looks even better.
Yeah.
And
a
lot of people say he copies. He takes a lot of inspiration from other people, but I think he does. That makes it okay is that he puts his own Tarantino twist on it.
He puts a flair on it, and it's not just straight up copying. It's strategically stealing the little bits that he wants from each thing, and
a director in
for his own purpose.
A director in 2018 just doesn't have the ability to be completely original because so many things have been done by now, and I think that what he does, taking things from everywhere and mixing them together and making something completely unique, is very fantastic. Now, a director who is completely on the opposite end of the spectrum as far as ridiculousness is Ridley Scott. His movies are very serious for the most part, except for The Martian. But for the most part, his movies are very serious. A lot of them are sci-fis. His best ones are sci-fis.
Yeah.
And the thing what Ridley does, he focuses more on the visuals more than the script. I bet you he'd even tell you that himself.
I'm sure he'd make a great cinematographer.
He makes beautiful looking movies. Even his not so much liked ones like Prometheus. Everyone can agree that movie looks...
No one can say that movie is a terrible looking movie.
And it's because he's so dedicated to it. I saw an interview where he said that he would do a scene at least 10 times before he even turns on the camera. So that's what his characters, his actors, they look natural in the scenes. And I think what really does amazingly is he captures this feel of isolation in almost every of his sci-fi movies. A lot of directors, they try to put you there in a horror movie, you know? Not really. In Alien, he tries to make sure that
totally.
Ripley feels isolated from you as much as possible. He's not trying to put you there. He's trying to have you fear for her. And this is fantastic because it means you care about the character. When you're far away and you're still scared, he doesn't try to put you in the movie. You're far away, you're still scared. I mean, that shows that you have a great character.
And that movie's all about isolation too.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie has one of the greatest taglines ever. Yeah. In space, no one can hear you scream. That's amazing.
He's not fallen into modern traditions. He's still making movies today, which is fantastic because Alien came out in 1979, and his most recent movie just came out like 3 months ago. So the fact that you could still go in and watch a Ridley Scott movie shows that he really cares about film. And it shows in his movies. He puts time and effort into the build-up of his movies. He's really famous for this. A lot of his movies are slowly paced, and they're considered slow burns by a lot of film nerds. And what this is he throughout the movie he'll slowly drip you information. He'll give it to you in very small amounts, and it's not through dialogue. It's through what the characters see. They're not telling you information. They're not like, this is the mission. No,
which is a terrible thing to do. Unless you're David Fincher.
He drops you in.
David Fincher does that well.
He drops you in, and he takes you on a ride, slowly giving you information, and by the end, you feel like you know everything, and he might just blow your mind. Now, he doesn't have the best filmography as far as consistency, but his best movies are all up there with, like, everyone considers Alien and Blade Runner to be on the best sci-fi list of all, like, every best sci-fi list. Those two movies are on it. Next up, we have a very, very stylized director.
And this will probably be the last director we talk about.
Edgar Wright. He makes brilliantly edited movies.
Amazingly edited movies.
Made Baby Driver, and the thing with his movies is he focuses so much on visual storytelling.
Yes, 100%. He is totally... He does not care about what other movies are doing right now. He just focuses on what he thinks is awesome and what is great for the story, and he does that for it. He wants to show everything visually, not through dialogue, usually, and the results are amazing.
He's dedicated to each process of filmmaking too. If you look, Shaun of the Dead came out in 2004. He hasn't had that many movies since then, as you would expect from a director. It's because he really takes his time with each movie. So he was actually originally going to direct Ant-Man, but Disney was like, you need to get this out now, and so he walked. He's like, I'm not ready, so I'm not filming it. And
that's what he said. He said,
it's a shame that we didn't get that movie. You have to admire the dedication. He said he wasn't ready, so he wasn't going to film it.
Exactly. He doesn't do it for the money. He does it because he loves it.
Yeah, and so he makes a lot of comedy movies. Most of his movies can be considered.
But I don't think he tries to make comedy movies.
No, he
makes movies.
Okay, like Shaun of the Dead. He made Shaun of the Dead as a zombie movie, but because of the way he makes movies, that movie is hilarious.
It's amazing.
It's fantastic.
It's one of the funniest movies. And all of his movie, Baby Driver, that's almost like a thriller in a way, but
or you could.
But it's hilarious.
Some even say it's a musical. Like you can't even put his movies into genres because he's just so varied. He's a master of genre. He's just so varied, and something special that he does is making things funny visually too. In Hot Fuzz, there's so many things that just look ridiculous that you can't help but laugh.
Yeah, totally. And he uses the art of montage amazingly.
His movies are by far the best edited movies of all time.
Amazingly edited, and it's insane that he didn't win that Oscar. But
I agree.
yeah,
If you look at some of these best directors which we have listed here in their films, what you'll notice is a lot of them are original, yet they keep their same style that's personal to them
Yep.
throughout it. You can watch Fight Club and you can watch Seven, and you can tell they're made by the same person.
Yeah.
However, they're not the same
they're
movie.
not the same movie at all. Yeah. And that goes with all the directors here. Tarantino, Ridley Scott, Edgar Wright. We have some more listed. Brad Bird.
Denis Villeneuve. He made the new Blade Runner movie, and he made Arrival.
Steven Spielberg.
Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick. Woody Allen.
Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
He made so many. They've all made so many fantastic movies, and if you look at it, they are all original, and they're all very focused, and they're dedicated. These are not directors that make a movie every 2 years.
No.
They make sure that their script is right, everything's right, the production design, and everything is ready. The casting's ready, and
Everything is perfect.
it's all perfect. And what you get is their movies generally come out fantastic.
Yeah. And at slower rates, but it's worth it. Yeah. So that's all we have for today, guys. Thanks for coming. Yeah. Thank you. And we will see you next time on Castipod. Bye.